This episode is brought to you by Midwest Night Watchers, found everywhere on your favorite podcast platforms.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Piercing the Veil.
Hey, welcome back, everyone. It's good to see you.
Yep. So we're back on Tuesday again, and we're still doing Sundays. That has been our original time slot. So we're still testing out Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Central to see how that goes. We get a lot of UK people and some other people from around the world. So we're just testing out this time slot. But like I said before, once daylight savings time hits, we'll probably go back to 6 p.m., whether we do Tuesdays or our normal Sunday show. So that's why our intro still says 6 p.m.
Yeah, we've done a couple Thursdays, so I don't think Thursdays are that good. So now we're trying a Tuesday. So
there's a lot of traffic. On Thursdays, and we have friends that have shows on Thursday, so we don't want to really do it the same time they do or interrupt their shows by some of our people that follow us are the same people that follow them. So we're trying to find a time slot that works for everybody and trying to be respectful about it. So right now we landed on Tuesdays.
Thank you for your patience.
So I see Blazers in the chat, Moon at Noon, and we got Jason.
Gemini.
Yep. Hi, Gemini.
Lulu. Welcome in, guys. Well, this is going to be a very exciting show. It was about a year ago that we had Cindy on, and she actually is the very only one that has actually come to our house and seen our property and spent the night. She and I were up till like 3:30 in the morning, just talking and talking and talking. And then she wanted to leave early the next day, and we still kept talking, and she didn't get out of here till late afternoon. So I am really excited to have our very good friend Cindy back. She's had a lot of excitement this past year. So this is just a continuation of what happened since last year.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and bring Cindy up, and we'll get going so we can have the full amount of time with her to catch up.
Hey.
Hi, Cindy. Welcome
back, Cindy.
Hey, how are y'all? This is kind of weird. I'm in the back of my RV. It's the only place I get some peace and quiet.
There you go.
Yeah. How are y'all doing? Long time, man.
Yeah, we're doing good.
Yeah, we're doing good here.
Well, if I come out your way here in the next couple of weeks, of course, I'm coming over.
Right.
Yeah, it was only 29 degrees when you were here, and we were freezing our asses off in the backyard looking for Sasquatch.
Oh my God, that was crazy though. Y'all's field and then the set of woods, because that's how they traveled through, through those passageways, and then the waterway. So and then y'all have the perfect skyline and your setup. Oh my gosh. A lot has been happening.
We're very fortunate where we're at. Of course, I was born and raised here, but when we bought this house, we didn't think nothing of it till we started watching the sky. Then, we started noticing stuff out in the fields, and it's like, oh man, this is perfect.
Yeah, I've been watching the skies too for the last couple of years, and I realized something this year watching this past summer. I went to Utah to stay with my mom for around a month, and it was really weird because my friends love to sit outside and watch the skies. My friends in Utah, he owned the LGS Film Festival, and so he knows like all those guys, the Expedition, Bigfoot people, and I mean, some of the other like, different TV shows that aren't even like cryptid, like the UFO stuff.
Right.
So I sat out there with them, and in Utah, the skies are purple. So
Oh,
yeah, it's a little different because I have pictures I'll send you when I took pictures at night, and it's like purple out there. And so,
huh.
and then in 2022, when I was out there for Phenomenon, I noticed that the skies out there in Vernal, however you say it, they were like this purple color, and I thought, wow.
Uh-oh.
Did I do something?
Yeah, did you?
Oops, I'm
What
sorry.
happened?
I think
I
I
don't
hit.
know.
I was trying to type to somebody in chat, and I think I hit the wrong key.
Girl.
I know it's my fault.
When I was at my friend's house, we were just laying back. I started really watching the stars, and we were noticing stars, and she had been telling me about this, and she was showing me, like, if you see a set of, like, let's say 5 stars in like on a dice, 1, 2, 3, 4, and one in the middle, we watched those 5 stars change form over 2 hours. And then we kept watching, and then there was like this burst of light. I was like, what just happened?
I've seen
So
that many times.
she,
Mhm.
yeah, and Arla, who, y'all know Arla,
Yep.
she was explaining to me about light codes. So I'm outside almost every night in my hot tub out here in my woods, and I'm looking up at the sky because it is like a light bulb just went off. It's all interconnected, all of it.
Mhm.
What's happening down here, what's happening up there, it's all connected.
Yeah, there's been a lot of crazy stuff going on in the skies here lately. Just
Yeah.
can't
I mean,
explain
like,
it.
yeah, like I saw this blue flash one time, and then I saw a flash, like a return flash from like the side of my eye, and I looked like that, and I was like, okay, I know
Mhm.
I saw, because I was watching these stars. So what I do out here in my hot tub is I'll see this set of stars and I'll watch them. And sometimes they change and sometimes they don't. But one night there was like this blue flash. And then I saw like another flash from the right. And I thought, what is happening up there?
Yeah, I thought I was crazy because I kept seeing these bright light, brighter than a normal bright star. And I look and then it's bright and then it disappears. Well, then finally he was out in the backyard last year. He started noticing some. And I went, oh my God, I'm not the only one. Because yeah, you see
No.
this bright light and then it just kind of fades out. It's not moving. They just appear. And then I do see flashes, that you look
Yeah.
over like, okay, what was that? So yeah, girl has experienced what I've been seeing out in the backyard too.
Yeah, totally. And y'all got y'all, the way y'all, that field is set out, that's
Mhm.
perfect. So, cause like here, I'm in around a lot of trees, but I mean, still, I've got a great night sky. So one night, a couple of years ago, I came out the front door, like around. Well, first, what happened was I was awoken at 2:20 a.m. By howling inside my house.
Inside
Um,
the house.
yeah, inside my house. I'm sure I told you all the story.
Hmm.
And me and my husband both sat up and we're like, what, we knew it wasn't the dogs, but we looked down at the dogs and they were fine. So I ran down the hallway to find my other dog, and he was fast asleep. So I'm like, what the heck? So I figured it was the forest people. Just, I was like, what does that mean? Like, I don't know what you're trying to do. Why are you waking me up at 2:20? No, no, I
Mhm.
have insomnia. So I went back to sleep, and I woke up a couple of hours, 5:15. That's what time I got up at that time. Now I don't get up at that time, but I woke up at 5:15. I was the first one up. My dogs, It's super dark. It's cold out still. So it was like February, maybe 2019 or something. And I open up my front door where I can see Hoodoo Mountain. Now, in wintertime here, we have like truckers that go up on the mountain. So I like to get my cup of coffee, go outside. It's all dark, and I'll see like the lights on the mountain. Well, I opened up the front door to let the dogs out, and it's all dark, and I see this light like flittering around. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's got to be a UFO or something. So I grab my phone and I start filming, and then pine cones are being thrown at me from the left side. I'm like, what the heck why are y'all throwing pine cones at me? It was the juvies, I was assuming, because none of the adults of the clan are that obvious. So, and I felt like I wasn't threatened, but they were trying to get my attention. And then I remembered they woke me up at 2:20. So clearly they are trying to get my attention. I don't know why. I look down at my dogs. I always look down at my dogs as a sign. And my Malamute, who passed away since then, was kind of going woo, woo, which, those huskies don't really bark. So I was like, I have no idea. So I came in the house, and it was, still dark out. So later, when it was light out, I went back outside, and I was looking, and I saw where all the pine cones were being thrown, because we had just cleaned our driveway of all the pine needles and everything, pine cones that had fallen, and the pine needles and the leaves, because it's that time of year to start cleaning up. And we had just cleaned I have a long driveway. I'm on like 5.5 acres. And right there where my truck was parked, you could see where all these pine cones had landed, like a couple had hit my truck. And I have this video, and when I didn't like respond to them, because I'm trying to catch this thing flying in the air, they have like a hissy fit, and they break a stick in the woods. I have all that on video.
Wow.
So
Wow.
something is connected there. I don't know what. I haven't figured it out. I'm gonna see Arla in a couple of weeks, and hopefully she can give me some insight on it.
Yeah, that'd be nice to be able to have somebody else, either remote view or whether they're a channeler or whatever, whoever you use to see, okay, what's going on? Give me a little insight to this.
Yeah. Well, y'all know Arla Williams, right? In Oklahoma?
I've heard of the name, but we don't really know her.
Oh my gosh. Okay, we'll talk after this. Everyone knows who she is. She needs to come on your show. She is always on the Pork and Bean show with Brian Bland, and I forgot what the other guy's name is. But yeah, so she lives in Oklahoma, and she's lived with she's had experiences with the forest people since she was a child. Her grandmother is taught her everything. Yeah, she's amazing. Yeah. We're gonna have to talk. Yeah, y'all need to meet her, and I'm sure she'll come on your show. But she is somebody I've followed since like 2007, when I was still flesh and blood. I used to make fun of her, like, oh, you nutcase, you nutball, And now every time I see her, I say, I am so sorry. Now she's my mentor.
Now, so we had one question already. You are not in the Midwest. Cindy is half the time you're in Idaho, and then the other half you're in Texas. You have two places to go. So yeah, you're not actually Midwest. She is in Idaho right now.
Yes, and this is so for people who might want to go back and watch the other video. I don't know if you can find it and share it somehow on your page, but to catch up, I'm from Texas, and I had my first encounters there, and I started researching like actively all the time. I was a nutcase about it. I was gone all the time because I I thought they were only up in the Pacific Northwest, and come to find out they're in the Big Thicket, which isn't too far away from where I lived in East Texas at that time. So I researched East Texas and also Southeast Oklahoma, which is another popular spot. And then I was pretty much flesh and blood at that time. But then we moved to North Idaho on this property in 2004. And so that's when my journey really started changing, and slowly over time I converted from flesh and blood to totally woo
Yeah.
Wow.
because of what's happened to me. And trust me, this is not anything that I wanted. Around like in 2004, the first thing I noticed before I even moved here, my husband said, "Hey, so this is what's happening. I found this house." There's actually a story about finding this house, and I put it in my book. And when he was looking for a house, I said, "No house in the woods. Like I don't care if it's like 2 acres down," because we had horses, so we needed land.
Right.
Well, there was no place to find, and then he found this place, and it wasn't even built complete yet on the inside. It was on the outside, and it was weird. It was like he was the only one that came and looked at this house, and we put a offer on it, and after it was accepted, all kinds of people were coming forth with 40,000, 60 more thousand, 60 more thousand. Nobody saw this on the MLS. It was like I was supposed to move here.
Wow.
So the first couple of years were things that were happening around my house. Things ramped up then. The kids grew up here. My oldest was 9 when we moved here, 8 or 9. And then my youngest was 18 months or 2. And then the first couple of years, we had a lot of things happen. And then things started happening in the woods, paranormal things, which I think I went over in your first interview. So I started audio recording in 2017, and that was when things were just in my face happening. And then people were here, people witnessed this. And then slowly over time, I just, one day I was in my front yard and my Malamute was going through this bush, and I pretty much was open already because there was a photo that my family took for Christmas of my whole family, and it was Christmas of 2017. So 2017 was a big year for me. I think I said in the last interview that my house was smacked in 2017. And so then I started getting audios, and I know I gave you one. And then after that, we took a family photo, and you could see things in the trees. Someone contacted me and said, "Hey, that photo that y'all took, have you seen what's there?" And she said, "There's a wolf above your head." I'm like, "What?" I
What?
thought, yeah, there's like a wolf head next to somewhere in the photo, like next to me above my younger son. I'm like, "What?" And I didn't see anything. So then after that, I just started accepting the fact through hearing things in the woods, huffs. I mean, I would be sitting right there. I had a friend over, and we heard a huff, or more primate, and he heard it. I heard it. The third person that was there, who was sitting on the other side of the fire, because they were watching the fire because it was kind of windy that night, and we both heard it. And I've had my name called. I've heard the samurai chatter. I've heard just chattering, just a lot of stuff. So that's what led up to me finally having a switch of what's really happening here, because we'd find footprints. They ended. There was like, what else? I would find one footprint. Well, what's this about? So what ended up happening was one day I finally witnessed my dog was going through this tree, there's this bush all over my property that the moose love to come and munch on. So my dog kept going through this bush, and all of a sudden I got that feeling. I talk about this in different about signatures. Signatures are something either I generally feel that general feeling where I can feel something come in, or I can feel the signature of like female that I know, or the other one that I just call him Chunky Teeth. That's not really his name. There's another one that befriended my dog. That's a sad story. His name is Chunky Teeth. And then right there, I got my phone and I put it on this bush, and I saw her go through it, and I could see clear as day, like in predator mode. If anybody has ever seen that movie, Predator, you can see something there, but you can't see it. I could see the complete outline, like the back part of it, and I kind of switched over, and then I could see the side, and I thought I was on crack cocaine or something. I thought, oh my gosh, it was like, holy crap, that was meant for me to see, and I accepted it after, thinking, oh my gosh, I need some whiskey here, or did this really happen? And then I have the video somewhere, and I showed it to a friend, and they could clearly see it. And that video has changed a couple of times. Another time, we were looking at that same video, and then it was like, turn this way. So a lot of unexplainable things. Their abilities are amazing. I am totally on board for these. I call them the forest people. My outlook on this, I try to separate the paranormal, the ghost. There's other things here. There's skinwalkers. There's other things that change, that shapeshift, or I don't know if skinwalkers is a good term. The shapeshifter. I mean, there's shapeshifter crap going on.
Right.
There's canine stuff going on. I've heard a dog man. My place has been remote viewed by two very popular people. One, I cannot share it because, well, we'll get into that later. So basically, over all this time, my mindset shifted, and a lot of people that used to know me know I used to be like flesh and blood only, but it's because of this house and everything that's happened. I shifted my thinking, and then I started studying Ron Moorhead, and then I met Henry Franzoni and Rich Germeau, and all, Arla. I came back to Arla, Tom Cattrall. He's all of these people that I work with, Robin Haynes, Igor Berstov, just all these people, and every single person has no problem with the paranormal side of it, or the woo, the whatever you want to call it. So that is a fact, and I don't think it's like this everywhere. Like, for example, when I went down last year after I saw y'all and I got to Texas, there's a couple of houses on the property down there, and one of the homes was being rented out. Well, it wasn't rented out anymore because my family didn't want to do that anymore. So we left our RV and we started fixing up the house. Like, hey, we'll live here, from through the wintertime. So last winter, let me tell y'all what happened. I was drawn to this area, and I couldn't figure out, because I had this dream, and it was really confusing because I saw a lot of garbage like in the woods, and I was like, what? Why did I dream that? And then my father-in-law was talking about this area where someone had hunted and gotten a big hog, and I'm like, where is this at? And I went down the road, and it was this area not too far from where I live in East Texas. And so Dallas is like an hour away, I guess. We're by Lake Tawakoni, so that's one residence. There's another 100 and something acres in this town going a little bit further east. But there's no buildings on it. They just use it to hunt mainly. So I end up at this preserve of sorts, or this hunting place through the state of Texas, and the whole place was trashed. I went over this bridge and I looked down in the creek. There was tires in there. I'm really good now at picking up, as an empath, picking up feelings, and if I don't understand something, I've gotten a lot better about trying to understand things. And it all made sense. That dream I had, well, then I got that feeling. I stepped outside of my truck and I was looking in the woods. I did not go in the woods because it's hunting season and there's no way in hell I'm going to get attacked by a wild hog down there. So I drove the length of this preserve, and it was marked on trees by signs and by pink paint. And then at this one point, I got off my truck and I started filming. And then later, I could see them. Mamas came to the tree line with their babies. I'm like, oh my gosh, what is this about? And then another friend of mine who can communicate with them, because I don't communicate with them like that. She was telling me they want you to see what you can do about cleaning up this place because it's freaking trashed. So that is what I am going to try to do when I get back down there, is look into who I need to contact. I intended to do it while I was in Texas, but I never did. But now I'm very sure that's what I need to do. So I was able to have them come to me down there. Like, I didn't even have to really go anywhere. So I'm still figuring out the Texas thing. But I've had one thing confirmed to me. I've taken video of them at the tree line there in their interdimensional state. And other people have seen these videos. And, I'm a little bit more careful now about what I do and how I share it, because I already made that one mistake with that other photo a couple of years ago. And that photo went viral, and holy crap. So they can change photo. They can change. They can drain your batteries. They can also change a photo. And I know this is very hard to believe. A lot of people, Ron Marhead, he'll tell you. Igor Bristov, I've talked to him many times before this crap happened with Russia and Ukraine. Now it's not easy to get a hold of him. So I've completely transitioned over. I've accepted the fact that I got my answer, because that was one of the questions. Well, is it like this in Texas? Yes, ma'am, it is. So I'm really, really excited now to start interacting with the ones down there in Texas when I get there. But it doesn't mean I'm going to take off in the big thicket and start, screaming out in the woods and think, that's not what they want. Now, is it wrong? No, I wouldn't say it's not wrong, but I got the confirmation. So that's pretty much all that I needed for starters. But when I got back here, though, is when things just kept going. I got home. I got here May 20th. And then a couple of days later, I had to leave for Forks, Washington. Great event. I spoke at Forks, Washington. And then I attended a very special event. It's called the Family Sasquatch Reunion, or the Sasquatch Family Reunion up in Washington. And so it's been a busy summer. I've just had so many things happen since. So I don't even know where to begin.
Just start. It'll probably start flowing.
You know, you were talking about the difference between where you live in Idaho, right? And then Texas when you go back and forth. But a lot of people say that there's protectors in the clan that will follow you from one area to the other. Did you feel that at all?
Okay, well, this is what I was going to
Hmm.
get to eventually, but I'll just tell y'all. Okay, so okay, so like I was telling y'all about the night watch. So I am home quite a bit with my dogs, and at night I like to get into the hot tub. So this past summer, when my husband was gone, because we're old now and retired, so we're doing the things that we've said we wanted to do. And one thing that my husband has started doing is taking bike trips. So he went all the way back to Illinois, but I stayed home with the dogs. And it was on one of these nights. Now my son is home across the property in the house. We stay in our toy hauler on the other side of the property, and I have my hot tub right outside the door. So I was in the hot tub and I was just sitting there, and I think my dog was outside. What Daisy? Oh yeah, Daisy is the new dog. So this summer there's more. She basically got broken in, and I'll get back to Daisy here in a minute. But I'm in the hot tub, and I hear walking around in the garden, which is around maybe an acre back, and that's
Okay.
my son's girlfriend. That's her garden. And I stepped out, and I came in, and I got a flashlight, and I walked out close to the garden, and it's really dark, and I can't hear nothing, and I'm trying to look to see if anyone's there, and then I come back in the house. Daisy did not want to come in. She wanted to stay outside, and I was like, fine. So the next day I asked my son's girlfriend, I said, hey, were you in the garden last night? She's like, no. And then I found out later that there was juvenile or smaller footprints in the garden.
Hmm.
So that confirmed that I heard something walking around in the garden. On another night, I was in the hot tub. I don't know if my husband was here or not. He was gone for 6 weeks, 4 weeks, or something like that. Another night, I was in the hot tub, and I heard something, but I'm trying to think. I talked to somebody. I I think I talked with someone about what happened out here, where I heard something in the garden, and they referred me over to someone who remote viewed this place this summer. And one of the things she said is you have two clans there. The clan, she said, there's one big clan here in Hoodoo, and then there's like forks of it, right? Like there's
Right.
the smaller family units. And then this is what she said, you have the southern clan there with you too.
Oh,
Wow.
they
So
did follow
that's
you.
my point. Yeah, that was the kind of, I was
Mhm.
trying to get to the point, but that's what led up to, I was like, really? And
Wow.
she said, yes, there's two that have, well, I'm assuming it's the Southern clan, because this lady is from Australia, and when she did this remote viewing, she told me she did not want me to share the information. And she also told me other factors, and she said, you have your regular clan there, and then you have your Southern. I was like, the ones from the South?
Hmm.
And she never responded to me, so I'm assuming that's who they are. She said there's a female and there's a male, and then there's the other ones. And she was describing part of the property where they kind of just hang out, and they come in and out, whatever that means. She used a lot of acronyms, and I would ask her, what does this mean? What does this mean? And she's from Australia, so it was a little hard to understand her. And we were supposed to sit down together, and it never happened. She was supposed to tell me everything about what her remote viewing is. But what I
Okay.
can share with you is that she said that I am going to be working with more on a deeper level with the ones here, and then something with the southern clan. And I'm assuming what I have to do, which is for this area, try to contact whoever it is to clean up this area, because it's really ashamed. So I don't really have a lot to go on other than that. She did say that so she does this thing like with a Google Earth. All right, she took like pictures of like, and I didn't give her like longitude, and I didn't give her any of that. This is why I know she's telling the truth. One, she's not really all over Facebook, okay? I met her through a fluke of a friend of mine, and she used all these acronyms, and it was very confusing. And she did like these screenshots, and she said, whoever lives here needs to stop feeding the cryptids, or she didn't say Sasquatch. And I was looking at all of her prints because I was looking on my phone, so it was hard to see. And I opened up my laptop, and I was just trying to decipher everything she was saying. And it was my neighbor. She said, "Yeah, he's like leaving stuff back here." And so, because in my woods, there's like game trails, and I can literally sit and look to the back of my property, and I've seen coyotes, I've seen things travel through. I found dead chickens in the back of my woods, and yeah. So I was like, oh my God. So there's things traveling from my woods to go next door. My neighbor's a butcher.
Oh.
And so I was like, oh my gosh, what's his face lives next door to me. And so she's the one who said, there's a southern clan there, and they're there for you, for nobody else. And then she said they just come and go. She said there was other things here, like other ETs, and Jessica Jones also remote viewed my property, and she was pretty much along the same lines. Then she showed me this other swath of woods, like hundreds of acres. That is where I go, where I've found this huge structure. My former team, we found this one area, because it's not far from where I live, probably like 8 miles. I'll take off on my 4-wheeler there. So we had found this area, and we call it the Longhouse. My former teammate, Angelique, she's like really smart. I'll tell you what, she is wood savvy. She thinks of things I never even thought of. And I really loved having her on the team, as brief as it was. I learned so much from her. So she's the one who was like, well, look here, here's this big game trail. So we followed it, and all I remember is we found this massive structures that we call the Longhouse. Well, so move forward 2 years. I have been back to that place. At first, we thought maybe it was not a good place by some things that happened, but I live here, so I kept going back there, and it wasn't so bad. I have been yelled out I have a video where I'm in like 100 acres away from where we found the Longhouse, because I found other structures, like other massive structures, and they keep changing. Like, I mean, there's like 500 acres there to explore, and I kind of zigzag through where I can, and I have found prints in there. I have found tracks. I have taken photos, and they're sitting there inside the structures.
Wow.
Sounds wild, right? No, you can. All this is happening there. I've taken peanut butter over there. They didn't take it. Okay, really? I bought organic and brand new from Costco. They took it. Well, someone took it. I tried putting up cameras. They did not like that. I asked them, just like I asked to take audios, and I got audios. So I said, okay, well, can I put a camera up over there? Absolutely not. All right, fine. So this lady from Australia remote viewed this section, and she said, they're a little different here. And I don't know what she means by that. She used an acronym, and she said, do not tell anybody about this area because, and I don't know what the deal is. And then she had some other things in her report that she gave me. I have no idea what they mean, and to this day I don't know what they mean, but I was able to figure out my neighbor throwing, I'm assuming he's a butcher, so it popped in my head. So to me that was like an answer I got, that
Right.
he's throwing scraps or something back there. And so she said he needs
What
to
did she
start
mean by
doing that.
cryptids, though? Did she mean Bigfoot? Did she mean skinwalkers? Did she mean something
She
else
just said
that's in
like
your area?
she
Dogmen?
she used a general term, and it wasn't Sasquatch, but she was talking about everything. And I would have to look up her text that she sent me and the whole report, but she was referring to, you know, whoever lives here needs to stop, feeding the something. And so I'm just saying cryptids, but she did not say Sasquatch. I'm like, what is she talking about? So I was
Wow.
looking, and I figured it was my neighbor. I'm like, oh my God, he's a butcher. And I even went to my son. I was like, hey, is he throwing? Because my son is more friends with him, and he's like 29 or something. He's a young kid. And I was like, is he throwing stuff back there? And my son is like, yeah, I think he is. I'm like, I don't think that's okay. So I don't know, but I was able to figure out that from her report. And I was saying, well, how come he can't throw his scraps back there, but I can leave peanut butter for them? Because in one, I do not believe in habituating them, because I always believe that they don't need anything from us.
Right.
However, I've been told differently. They want maple syrup, they want peanut butter, they want garlic. Okay.
Garlic.
So this summer, what has happened is, I've had at least two from the Southern clan come up here. That has been confirmed. I had no idea. She said that, and then the thing with my neighbor, and then she was saying there's something about the type of Sasquatch. She said a lot of the ones, like, yes, they are ancient, but there are ones out there that have been DNA manipulated.
Oh,
Like they've been messed with. Does that make sense?
right. Yep.
I was like, okay, wait a minute. Wait. Whoa. Because we're talking about like the general clan that's here. How am I supposed to know what's what? And she was saying, well, you don't want to be sharing this information. I probably even shouldn't be saying it here, but I mean, whatever. So I don't know. That was pretty much all I understood from her reports that she sent me. And she said, you have got a very, very, very active area, and there's something about that mountain. And she said, I wouldn't be surprised if there was like a UFO base there somewhere underground. I was
just gonna say there's probably a hidden base or military
Right.
base or something in that mountain.
yeah, well, two people have told me that now. So that led me to, now I haven't got any more audios this year or nothing like that, because I just feel like I have other work to do. Plus, my two audio machines that I had are totally, I don't know, they were lost in Texas. I mailed my two audios to a friend, and he does a lot of great work in cleaning up audios. I had 700 hours of audios I had not heard. So he was going to go through it, but it's very time consuming. So he downloaded everything, and then he sent me my audios back, and then they got lost in the mail, which is totally fine. I don't care. He sent me everything that was on there. So I have that on my laptop, and I can still review it. I mean, of course I haven't. I just don't really feel like I need to. It's fun to discover new stuff, like, oh, holy crap, whoa, that was like from 3 years ago. So I'm on a much deeper, higher level now, because now there's other things, like we're going deeper now into the into the pot, into the, we're going deeper down the rabbit hole. I've accepted the fact that they are metaphysical. I know that. There are different things out there. There's even different types of Sasquatch. And I guess I'm being told that there is DNA manipulation. Now, I know this sounds crazy. I have no proof of this. I don't know. I'm just telling you what this one lady said. She said, you do have your regular ones, but this section over here, and then I don't know. I'm getting DNA manipulation through something. I don't know if it's through, because I had been told ETs have messed with, there's just so many different types out there. And then there's the, the government. So how much truth there is to that, I do not know. This is just what the lady said.
Yeah.
And so, and then I continue to hear the howls, because I mean, I'm right at the bottom of Hoodoo Mountain. I've been in the woods, like up my mountain on my 4-wheeler. And see, before I didn't, have to go up that, because everything happened here. So now I've been going up in the mountains, and I've been discovering so many crazy. I've sent you some photos.
Yeah. Whenever you want me to bring them up, just let me know and we can start bringing stuff up.
Yeah, you can. I sent you an audio. Do you want to play that? I'm not sure which one I sent you, but we can just give them an example. Someone cleaned that up for me. I think it was Tobe Johnson, from A Flash of Beauty.
Yeah. So you want me to bring up the audio then?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a lot of noises.
Wow,
Okay.
that was fantastic. Wow. Now, your mic was muted while the video was playing, so if you want to tell us what you were hearing compared to what we were hearing, because I was hearing the vocalization in the background, and whatever that whistle or bird sound was, I don't know what that was.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you. So that was taken Valentine's Day. That's how I remember. It was February 14th, 6:20 a.m. in 2019.
Wow.
And I know that because 2017 to 2004 to 2017 were like, it took all that stuff that happened to me, I mean, there's like, people would need to go back and hear the first interview, all those like led up to me doing the audio recording. So 2019, my son, he was, I don't know, maybe 16, around that age. And I took him down the road because he got a job and he was also being homeschooled. So we said he could take this job, and he wasn't really driving. So that's how I remember. Plus, it was Valentine's Day. I had just taken him down the road for a pickup point for his boss to pick him up. He was hired on at the age of 16 to do framing, and now my son owns his own company. Isn't that amazing? He's 21.
Wow.
So it's 1921. Well, anyway, so 2019, I took him down the road. I came home. I opened up my door, and there was snow on the ground. And I parked at the end of our driveway because my husband said he had to plow or something. I don't know. And I step out, and I hear this. And I'm like, oh, crap. I grab my phone, and I take that audio. And then Tobe took that, and he cleaned it up. And what happened is while I was at the end of my driveway filming this, my dog had come out through the doggy door. So that's what that commotion is from my house. And so they're coming out and they're going back in. And I was told that the whistle is that they were communicating or something. So
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah.
but that was on Valentine's Day, 2019. That's how I remember, because I had just come home from taking my son to work. And so, and I've got a lot of other audios. But that was the time for me to go through that, to learn all that. I've heard every single sound there is, every moan. I've heard them moaning like they're at a funeral, like just super sad.
Right.
I could pick up on the vibe, like almost to where I want to cry. I have heard it all. I've seen it all on this property.
Have you
So
heard snorts?
have I heard what?
Snorts.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes. Snore.
This summer I heard new noises, and we don't have wild hogs in Illinois, but in the cornfield, I was hearing something. A raccoon or something was getting attacked. You can hear the squealing, so some animal was getting attacked. But what I was hearing was whoop, not whoops, but whoop, 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 whoop. I mean, they were snorting and wooing at the same time, like they were surrounding this coon. And then the next day, I walked behind the barn. I heard just a snort in the field. But then the last couple of months, it's been quiet. So I'm not sure if they moved on or what. But yeah, I was hearing woos and snorts when they were attacking something one night. And then another time, I heard a fox yelling. I've got audio of this. I hear the fox going, yip, 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 yow. And then you hear this woo, woo. And I went,
Yeah.
and then yip, 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 yow. Woo, woo. And I'm going, what is woo wooing? That was something was with that fox that night.
Were the coyotes sound like the coyotes were hunting? Because I've been told this by just by different people that they do hunt with them. And I've heard many nights. I've heard the coyotes, and I have audios too, that I can send you, where you hear the coyotes, but you also hear the wolves, and you hear the definite alpha male going off. You can tell. My audios, I've heard snorts. I've heard here in my woods. I've had Brent from Paranormal Portal. Him and John were here. We had a fire, and it was so funny because it all of a sudden was windy, and we had been planning this forever. And I'm like, dang it, we're gonna have this fire. So John, we had the hose right there just in case. And me and Brent were sitting on this side of the campfire, and we could hear, because Brent had these cool goggles or night vision. You could see the stars. It was so cool. But both of us said, what was that? It was like a snort huff. Yeah. And there was nothing there.
You were here when you spent the night here last year. If you remember, the coyotes were going off. We were also hearing whoop, 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 whoop. Well, coyotes whoop, 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 whoop when they're going off. So you heard that. I heard that several times here, that you're hearing whoops with the coyotes.
Yeah. So the theory is that they're hunting, or that they're together somehow. I've also heard a kill, like what you said, you heard a kill, and then you hear all the coyotes go off, and then you hear the wah! And then something else screams that's being killed. So the theory is, and I have the theory too, that maybe they run together. I don't know.
I've heard that. Yeah.
I don't know.
Wow.
And something was with the fox, because that was not a fox howling. That was definitely a fox by himself. Something was running around with the fox too that day.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Yeah.
That's a weird thing. Like you said, you get used to the sounds out there. Say, okay, you know what a coyote sounds like, you know what a fox, what a wolf, and all this sounds like. Then all of a sudden, there's these little nuances in between. It's like, okay, that's different. That's not normal.
Yeah. So you have an owl right outside your window going, and I'm going, oh, owl.
That's a really good mimic, Jane.
Yeah. Well, I talk to. We have little screech owls, the ones that are like 6 inches high. You know, the itty bitty little owls, and they're
Yeah.
called screech owls. And I talk to them back and forth, going, "Grrr," and then they'll go, "Grrr," and then they'll go. "Grrr." So I'll trill. So I'm kind of going, okay, am I talking to an owl or am I talking to something else? But this past week, a couple times in the middle of the night, they're either right outside my window, but they're not doing the trill. They're just going, "Grrr." And I'm going, okay, that's kind of interesting.
That's so funny. Yeah. So yes, I've heard all that. So I've gone through all this stuff. I'm learning. I'm getting a lot of mind speak, but not. People ask me what is my mind speak like. Before I used to kind of like apologize before I said it. Now I don't apologize because it is what it is. And
I'm picking up on some of it, yes, because our clan got quiet at the beginning of summer, and so I finally went in the backyard, fully meditated, and I'm going. I felt lonely. I went. I miss you guys. I know you're not around. What is going on? Are you okay? That's what I was sending out. All I heard back was not safe, not safe. And then
really?
what I picked up was we've had a lot of black helicopters, and I think they finally took off for a while.
Really? Okay. What that's totally weird. Now, so this level that I'm at, I mean, I went through a lot of crap, as I told you all these last couple of years, with my father passed away, and then I went through that year of just, oh my gosh, trying to teach people, and I did it the complete wrong way, and it backfired on me. So now I try to come about it a different way to teach people about what is out there, because it's not all it's not all good, and you have to really find your discernment when you're doing this.
Right.
And so where I'm at right now is on a deeper, higher level of understanding, and I'm not questioning as much. And I work with a complete network of people, and I'm actually writing a book. It's actually done. And I have all these people in my book, like Henry Franzoni. He recently passed away. Do y'all know who Henry Franzoni is?
I've heard the
No,
name.
I haven't.
Okay, so we'll talk. Henry Franzoni worked. He's like a scientist. He worked for the tribal. Out of, I don't want to say the wrong thing, so I will just say that he wrote a book, and he tells the story of how the CIA asked him to basically just stop talking and stop sharing about the Sasquatch. And he will talk to you on a scientific level, how they can disappear. And a Flash of Beauty has interviewed him, and he talks like, okay, so Henry Franzoni, Ron Moorhead are in my book, and they explain to you scientifically about atoms and matter and all. If I were to explain it to you, I'd have to like pull it up and read it to you. So it's all explainable. People just are here yet. A lot more people are opening up. So it's just a matter of what and when. So where I'm at now, I'm trying to figure out how to teach people, how to share with people, and not take things so personal, like when someone says, "Oh, you're crazy," because here where I live, the mountain's called Hoodoo. Okay, it's all included. There are shapeshifters here. I got a report of a lady just down the road here, just going to work, just minding her own business. There's a moose in the ditch, and it's all wooded around here because there's tons of state land or private paper land where, or the state of Idaho or the national forest around here where I live. There's 1 million acres you can go explore. She was driving to work on the other side of Hoodoo. There's this moose in the ditch. And when she passes by, she looks at the moose because, hey, cool, it's a moose. And then she says it eyeballed her. It looked at her like this. Now,
Ew.
yeah, when you look at an animal, but no, this was not like, oh, it looked at you, because I told the story to this one guy and he's like, yeah, moose do that. I'm like, no, because he was like downplaying what I was trying to say. No, this moose like looked at her and then she was like, ew. And then and then when she passed it, she looked in her rearview mirror, what she saw, and she was kind of like sweating when she was telling me the story, but she was okay, but she was sweating a little bit. She said that the moose went down like this and it popped up again as a man, and it looked like he was dirty,
Really?
yes, and then it went into the woods, but it kind of just like kind of like
That's
he
water.
didn't just like walk into the woods. He kind of like went, down like, and then she was like, I don't know, but so she told her hairdresser, who called me, and then I went up there and we met up and I talked with her. So I am finding out. So this summer I decided I'm going to expand out more, because they come to me here on my property, and I have already proven, and enough people have been here on my property to where I don't like all the structures on my property here. They're not the same. They're all kind of different now. So now I am finding so much more stuff up on the mountain, and to this one area here. I call it the 100, but it's really hundreds of acres. I just call it the 100. There's hundreds of acres here that I am collecting all the data from this area, all the structures. I go up on the mountain on the other side. I am finding all kinds of structures like the photos I sent you.
Right.
And then people are calling me. I'm getting all kinds of crazy reports. There is somewhere around here this family ranch. They don't own it anymore. I just found this out this past Sunday, and I got a lot of answers. So a year ago, I got 2 reports. Well, actually, a couple of years ago, I met up with this guy, Real Cowboy. He contacted me on Facebook, and he said, "Hey, I'd like to talk to you." And I was like, I'm thinking, who's this weirdo contacting me? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, yeah, about Sasquatch. I used to work on this ranch over there. I was like, oh, really? So, he's got my attention. He didn't want to talk to me on Facebook. He didn't want to talk on the phone. We decided to meet up at a local restaurant. So a couple of years ago, he came and he brought his daughter. And I remember his daughter, maybe 14, super smart, super observant. The story I heard from this guy, unbelievable. I'll give you the quick version. He's a tracker, what's that? A guide. So him and his family, they've worked on these ranches like in other states, and he's had other encounters that he told me about, which I won't go into now. But this ranch here that he worked at for, I think, 4 or 5 years, he told me the name of the family. I know the family, kind of. I know other extended family members. This is a pioneer ranch, like from back in the pioneer days, at least 1,000 acres. And then what borders it is the state land and the other private paper lands. His family saw Sasquatch, UFOs, thunderbirds or big birds like a pterodactyl. He found these tracks that were going into this section of woods, and the owner, which was an old guy who owned the ranch and his 2 daughters, he told my friend Sam, don't go in those trees there, don't go in that section. And he was like, why? And he's like, just don't go through that section. So it's a section of woods that it should take you like 20 minutes to get through this section. Then it keeps going up the mountain, okay? And it leaves the property eventually. So Sam found these tracks of like a clan. He knew what they were. So he went and told his wife, hey, I'm going to go track track this clan the next day. So the next morning, he left with the intent he would come back. Well, when he got to this set of trees, he bent down to tie his shoe or something, and then when he was bent down, he heard bipedal walking, and he looked up. There was 2 other Sasquatch there. I don't remember if he said they were male. For some reason, I want to say yes. He said one looked at him and grunted. Keep in mind, this is not his first rodeo. He's had other encounters in other states where he was a manager of different ranches. He has been on mountain cliffs, ledges, and he has seen herds of elk, followed by Sasquatch in, I think, Colorado, where he worked. He was the backcountry manager for this massive ranch that would bring in people, and then they would go out and to the backcountry, and that's what he was the manager of. So
Wow.
his job, yeah. So he's had, this is not his first rodeo. So he, excuse me. So he was not afraid when they grunted at him. He's just like, okay, like, what do I do? So they ended up going into the set of woods, following their family, their clan. So he too went into the woods. This was like 2017. So while this is happening to him there, I'm having all this crazy stuff happen to me just 15 miles away. So he goes through this set of woods. He comes out on the other end. He went in the morning, like 10 a.m. When he came out, he had a 7.5-hour time loss.
Oh my.
Wow.
And then he was like, oh crap. So he ran back through the woods, because I asked him. I said, did you go back through the woods? And so he went back through the woods. His boss, the owner of the ranch, was sitting there in his truck, and he's like, where the F have you been? Because his wife was worried, and she was calling so they were all like out looking for him. And he's like, I told you not to go through that set of, he said, I was only gone 30 minutes, but it's 4 or 4:30, whatever. And he told me, he asked him, what else is up there? Is there a Sasquatch or what? The guy never answered him. But the guy did tell him that when he went through that set of trees, he lost 2 days when he was hunting. He went in there, he came back out. It was 2 days later. And then another neighbor had told him she also had lost time. I don't know if it was in the area. I don't know if it was in that set of trees. So, and he told me his whole crazy story. And it's his intention or hope that he would love to get personal with the clan and learn more about them. So this past Sunday, he came back over, and I invited another guy over who was a real estate agent. Last October, before I came down, this guy called me because he got my number from a friend of mine who's a logger here in the area. And he texted me, and the text said, hey, is this Cindy? I'm like, yes, who's this? And he's like, oh, I got your number from Loman. I had something happen to me up in the Hoodoos. I'm like, oh, yeah, sure. So we ended up talking on the phone. And he also sent me some stuff. He basically went and parked in front of a gate, because this is on Idaho state lands, and you can't take your 4-wheeler in there. So he parked his car and he hiked down this road like a mile. And this road, he stayed on the road. This is what kills me. He stayed on this road, and it kind of climbed up. And then he heard some movement in. Sorry, my dog was barking out there. He heard some movement. And, he was thinking it was, maybe like a deer or a bear. Well, all of a sudden, he got roared at. And he said it sounded like a bear, but it got in his chest. And then it started coming, like running towards him. And he said it was like a train coming. And this guy is a hunter. He's also a real estate agent. He has also had other Sasquatch encounters. And that's the first thing that came to his mind when this bear did not show itself. So he's a hunter. He's hunted back here many times. And so we talked on the phone. And so this where this happened on the state land or is bordered the ranch of where this other guy had that encounter.
Wow.
So Sunday, I brought them both together because I wanted them to meet because we're gonna track back in. I don't know. I know they're gonna do it. I don't know if I'm gonna be here because they want to go in together when it's hunting time, which is I think 10/10 is the rifle season here. So I said I think I'm still gonna be here. So they met up. They both shared their stories. I re-recorded the rancher again because I lost the story on my old phone, and he said some other things that he didn't tell me the first time we met. So it's been 2 years since I've seen this guy who worked at the ranch. Now this other guy who's a realtor, I've met up with him 3 times because I went to go look at a house, and then he told them his encounter because they are friends of mine who want to move here into the area from Montana. So we kind of like caught up again. So I said, you have to meet this guy. He's a rancher. And so I told him his story. He's like, oh yeah, I've got to meet him. So Sunday they both came over and they were just like going back and forth. And I'm just sitting there like recording, and it's unreal. And then they had to leave because he had to go show a house, but he's going to come back because what I'm doing now is I'm not just researching on my property. I'm going back to this 300 acres or whatever it is, 400 acres, and I am zigzagging through there. I am finding all kinds of things. Up on the mountain, I am discovering new places, and the snow is going to be here pretty soon. So that's where I'm at right now. I mean, things are I mean, I'm up in the hills. I'm drumming up there in the mountain, and I'm getting wood knocks, that what we call a wood knock. And that happened when my team was here. We did some land clearing, and we used the Tibetan sound bowls, and we witnessed them here on my property. Well, actually, my former partners saw them first, and then I remember looking over here on my property, and so much has happened. I've had people remote view my property, people I don't even know contact me and say, hey, tell me things. So there's more here, and that's what I'm trying to figure out and discern, like, what are you trying to tell me? Because the first time we went into the 300, where we found this massive structure, me and Angelique got really, really sick. And I'll tell you what, she is smarter than a whippoorwill, man. That she taught me so much, like to tie logging tape when you go down the woods for the thing with the lost time, how to find your way back, things like that. So I had been back to this area, and one night we had some people over here, and we had been drinking. I won't lie. In fact, I was tanked myself. I hopped on the 4-wheeler. I went down the road on the 4-wheeler. And then my son was like, Mom, where are you going? Because he's like, no driving. I said, I'm on the 4-wheeler. He's like, it doesn't matter. So I came back, and my son sat on like the front, and because I wouldn't get off the 4-wheeler, he's like, what is wrong with you? I said, I'm gonna go down. Oh yeah, don't drink and drive, y'all. I was on a 4-wheeler. Okay, I was on a 4-wheeler. My son hopped on the front. This was in July because my husband was gone, and so he's like, let me at least come with you. So we went down to the 300, and we went down this other road that was like totally blocked off. I was like, oh, this wasn't a good idea. And then he's like, oh my gosh, Mom, I had a really bad encounter here. I'm like, my son doesn't tell me a lot. He's had all kinds of things happen, the things that I have heard. And then what he told me, just like, I just don't know, like, do I need to have a talk with y'all over here? Or like, what is going on? Because one of the understandings that I ask from the cryptids around here is like, don't scare my family, don't bang on my house. So that's pretty much, uh, I've had banging on my house 2 times that I know of. The night that it happened here in 2017, and then when Igor Bristov stayed here at my house for like almost 4 or 5 days, and they slapped the house where he was in that bedroom. So here in the woods, my son is like, I had something happen here. I'm like, I'm a little drunk, but I'm like, okay, tell me tomorrow. So my son told me the next day, he was like, Mom, I was trying to take the keys away from you. I was like, what? So my bad, y'all. Yeah, I got in trouble with my son. And he says, why are you going down there on the 4-wheeler? And because here's a fact I tell people, they call drinks spirits for a reason. Okay.
Right.
So when you drink like that, your vibration comes down lower. So when your vibration is lower, I don't like to be around them, like when you're mad or because your vibration is lower.
Right.
So the whole point is to have a higher vibration. So that's one thing I'm learning about, because as a human, it's very hard to it's impossible to keep your vibration up 24/7. There's just no way.
Especially these days.
Yeah. So it's learning how to do that. So going back to my son was hunting on this property last year, y'all. And he was in his vehicle and he went down this other road that borders this massive structure, the longhouse, and these other massive structures that I have found. And they change all the time. Well, he said that he shot a deer in that area. Now, my son didn't know anything about the longhouse because, he doesn't, how my family is. They're sick of hearing about Bigfoot. So he said, Mom, I got a deer, and Riley was with me, and then the deer didn't go down right away. So he had to go track it through the woods of this 300, and his girlfriend is somewhere, and then they meet up, and he's trying to find this deer, be a responsible hunter. And then all of a sudden, they started going off around him. I said, did you see anything? He said, no, but they were like, I was like, really? And then he said that he was worried because he didn't know what to do. And then his girlfriend was there, and he felt he needed to protect her. And I was like, well, you really didn't need to be afraid because, but see, he didn't know that, he doesn't know like what I know. He just knows that they're there, and he knows of his encounters, and he doesn't really care to, which I wish he would, because I feel like I need to hand off everything that I learned to someone in my family. But anyway, so he said that they were like not happy, and he said he stood up and he said, this is my deer. And then they put it in the back of his vehicle, which is a Pathfinder. That's his mountain trash vehicle. I don't understand these kids these days. They'll get these vehicles and trash them up in the mountains. I just anyway. So then he came home and he's like, yeah, that was pretty scary. But he's had so many other things, some other things happened. So I was like, wow, really? So that happened. So I said, well, this is what's happening. You were in their area, you were hunting, and they were escorting you out. And he's like, I guess. So, my son had an encounter a year ago, and we discovered this section, the 300, in 2022. That was a crazy year of things happening. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. Things are just ramping up in the mountain. And then this lady reads my property and she's like, you got a lot of work that you have to do in Texas. I'm like, oh my gosh, are you like, I can barely keep up with what's up here. So, and she said, you had your validation already. I didn't even tell her. She said, they're up here visiting you because they validated your questions. And I was asking this question because I spent last fall writing my book in Texas in February. I was contacted by my friend, and I said, hey, I wrote 3 chapters, and he's like, finally, send me a chapter. So I sent him, basically the year 2017. He's like, oh my gosh. And I said, yeah, I'll finish it one day. And he's like, well, you know, if we give you a book deal, will that prompt you? I said, oh man, really? So I spent 3 months writing it and doing research and talking to people again. And then summer was here, and I pretty much just took off all summer. So I think when I get back down to Texas, because I'm in no rush and it doesn't have to be done until 2026. My last interview was Henry Franzoni, who passed away. He's an amazing person. I wish y'all knew him. I knew him very briefly. We were supposed to meet up. Tobe Johnson, A Flash of Beauty, people. Oh my gosh. Have y'all seen A Flash of Beauty 1 and 2?
No, I've heard about it, but we haven't watched it yet.
You have to watch it.
Wow.
It's on YouTube, free.
Oh, okay.
There in my book. Y'all, just wait till my book comes out. It's not going to be for everybody. It's my journal, okay?
Right.
And I'm writing part 2 of there's actually 3 books, part 2 and part 3 of, okay, now what? So, but I have to get this one published first. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to be like, oh, like, really? I'm sure. No, so it is not just about this area here has got a history. There's an ancient something. It's an ancient element, an ancient being that is not just a Sasquatch. It's just ancient. Like, I'm still trying to figure it out. But more than 2 people have told me there is an energy here and it's going to be respected. And if you don't respect it, the mystery is going to continue and continue. So, you know, a lot of questions, a lot of answers I'm getting. So I am just at the precipice of getting to the next level of what's going to happen next.
Well, to go back to the root of all of this, what is the history of that mountain? Was it cursed by Indians or what? I mean, what is the lore or legend of that mountain that made it so creepy?
Well, hang on one second before you go any further.
Okay.
We got people that want to know, okay, what's the name of your book that's coming out?
Okay, I don't know yet because I have a name for it, but until the book,
It could change the title.
Yeah, they want to, like I said, a couple of ideas like the Hoodoo Project, a researcher's, blah 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 journey. Some, and they're like, okay, well we'll explore all the best titles. I was like, yes, sir.
All right.
And then people want to know, they've been asking a couple of different, Val's asked and Amber asked, they want to know if you have a YouTube channel. I know you have Facebook, you're on Facebook and you do lives once in a while, but
you're live quite a bit on Facebook.
Yes, so no, I do not have a YouTube channel, and I don't like YouTube because it censors a lot, and I'm also an activist in my free time, and that a lot of people don't like me because I'm an activist, and that's fine. We'll keep that separate. However, I don't I don't pretend to be someone else. So on my Facebook page, I don't have so much activism stuff lately. I do have a separate page, which is Cindy Ann on Facebook. Cindy Ann Sasquatch Sisters Northwest. People can find me on there. So my feelings on YouTube are they just censor a lot of crap, and
they do.
I want to open up what's the other one?
Well, we go to Rumble and we go to Spotify also. So anytime we do an interview, we do Facebook and
Rumble.
YouTube, and then we take that and we upload it to Rumble and Spotify so people can catch us there in case it does get taken down off of YouTube.
Yeah, Rumble's safe.
Okay, so I'm probably going to open up a Rumble channel. It's just not a high priority. So people can go to Facebook and look for Cindy Ann Bueno Goodbrake, or you can find my page, Cindy Ann Sasquatch Sisters Northwest. Now, I will tell you that when I had the team, that was the name that we came up with, and I could not name my Facebook page because it wouldn't let me. it wouldn't let me say just Sasquatch Sisters Northwest because they said that had been used already. So we did have a team page and it just disappeared. It was like the weirdest thing. So I have problems like with the name. So I made my page Cindy Ann Sasquatch Sister because I didn't know what else to do. So people can find me there. But I am thinking about keeping the logo very close to the same, but changing it up and changing the name because now I have men that want to get involved and other women. So I don't know if I'm going to do another team, but it's going to be like a network because I'm already networking with people. And so that's kind of where I'm at. I'm getting prompted to rebrand. There is a YouTube channel, Sasquatch Sisters Northwest, that Angelique made, and she worked very hard on. Anyone can find that channel, and there's shows there, and she has narrated and done shows of stories. So people can go to YouTube, but that's not my page. But you can go there and hear her narrate stories. So she's in another group with her son, and people should go check it out. It's called Legacy Discoveries. They are on Facebook too. They do have a YouTube channel. So like I don't really work with them anymore, but like we'll check in, me and her, every now and then. And you know, she's coming up. She's one of those researchers that's coming up, and they're telling their story. And you know, they may not agree with everything I'm saying, you know, but that's okay. We can all support each other. And so people can go watch her channel, her son Mitch, go to Facebook and find them. And they come from a different angle. I don't really watch all their stuff that they do, but they're great people. She's a hardcore outdoorsman. Like she's a survivor, not me. I'll be crying in the woods, you know. Hey, I'm scared or I'm cold or whatever. However, it's the type of person that you are, your character. And so I don't think that, I mean, like different people have different experiences, and I can't explain every single reason, like how people have encounters. But I do believe that people like me, people like
Oh, we lost your audio.
like, oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, now
Yep, I
she's
can
back.
hear you now.
Yeah,
It just got
now
real
she's
faint
back.
for a second.
Yeah, you went down a little.
Oh, okay. Well, okay, so I'm not on YouTube, and I don't think I'm going to open up a YouTube channel just because I feel like they censor. I've had way too many friends that have lost their channels after doing a lot of work. So for now, until further notice, anybody can go to Facebook and find my page there. Or if you want to contact me, I'll give you my cell number. Anybody can call me. 208. What?
So you want to put that out publicly? I'm just telling you because there's a lot of people that's going to be watching this. So,
well,
or do you want to do an email?
I don't care.
Okay, it's up to you.
Hey,
I'm just.
After the shit I went through, the shit show I went through the last year, let me tell you what, nothing. That's totally fine. People can email me. I'll give you the email just so nobody freaks out, panics. It's Cindy, Cindy, Goodbrake, Goodbrake, the number 1010 at hotmail.com. So,
Hotmail.
Yes.
Hotmail's still out there, huh?
I guess. Email for a while. So, you know, so I might keep the logo a little bit. I'm going to change the name a little bit, maybe. I just haven't done that. I don't know if I want to, because, you know, I'm in Texas now, and I'm, you know, the SSNW was when I had a team. And so I don't really know what's going to happen at this point. Right now, I'm just coming off my high from just everything that's happening around here.
Right.
And I'm just trying to soak up as much of it as I can. One thing, we have one four-wheeler. I've been going up in the mountains quite a bit, and I've been going alone. And I don't always carry a weapon. And I know that's really stupid, but I'm just not gun savvy like a lot of other people. And, you know, I'm kind of like Lucy. I might shoot myself, you know. So guns bother me, even though I believe you should own them. And my husband's ex-military, so that is the next goal of mine. He said, like, Thursday we're gonna go look at a 4-wheeler because there's one for sale in Spokane and it's a really good deal. But next year, he said, if you have to go up in those mountains again, I'm going to be coming up with you.
Oh,
Right.
He
So I
said,
had interrupted you. So let's get back to Jane asked about what the
yeah, the history.
background of Hoodoo Mountain is.
Yeah.
oh, sorry, no, that's my fault because y'all know I'm ADD. I was getting off the point. Okay, so I have a book. I have gone down to the County Historical Society. I've gone down to the library. There's these 2 amazing books here. From what I am being told, the Indians basically named it. The What's that term? Not the hunters, the trappers from back in the day, and their interaction with the local Indians that were, here at that time. That is what I was told. And whatever is here, from what I'm getting from my personal experiences, which it's not all just Sasquatch, from reading in this book, of the history here, for example, in the Hoodoo Valley, the pioneers built this church, and my former partner actually needs to get credit for discovering the story. I only went looking for the story. I ended up finding the book, and I bought the book, and I found the story. This church was built here in the middle of this Hoodoo Valley, and the reason it was put in the center of Hoodoo Valley is because it was their belief that that would be the best place to put the church to ward off the evil spirits, basically. And in this book, it talks about the preacher who came to work in this church, and the history of the church was that they had a lot of bad luck, and they said that it was their hope that this last change would be to keep off the evil sounds, or the sounds that they were hearing from the woods. And I would have to read you word for word, but it made every hair on my body stand up when I read that. So through all these different ways, that mountain was named for a reason.
Right.
The hoodoos, when you look and see how everything is, there's a lot more I can't tell you because it's bad enough I'm saying it's the hoodoos, but a whole army can come here and do any kind of research they want. Any helicopter can come and fly low and high. They can fly over my house. It doesn't matter. I have already found one structure 2 weeks ago that I've never seen before in this one area. And we found in the we found the actual village that my former partner and me have talked about, but there are other structures in there. And I just found one that I've never seen before. So I don't know if it's newly built or if it was once a massive structure, but it's all been crashed down. They destroyed it.
Wow.
So I sent a message to 2 people and they have not had a chance to get back to me. So that's where I'm researching what's going on. Did I do something? Why is that crashed down? And then, you know what? This lady contacted, because I told my friend and to get a hold of this lady who remote viewed my house. And she said that she thinks that maybe, with all of this discussing the area and everything, which is too late, I already done that, my bad, that they are destroying their evidence. And I was said, but if they were to destroy it, it would be tore up more. So I don't know. That's kind of where we're at. But the history, the Indians, the pioneers named it the mountain. I guess that's all I can assume.
You know what
That's
hoodoo
what
means? Is there a definition behind the word hoodoo?
High strangeness.
Yeah,
Huh.
when I hear hoodoo, I think of magic, spells, mysterious.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, that's what hoodoo to me means.
Mhm.
Well, there's other stories I haven't told you all that really aren't Sasquatch related. It's just high strangeness. That's what I'm saying. A lot of discernment is coming forward, and this is what this lady was telling me. She said, "You have to work alone, and you have to work alone. Do you understand me?" I'm like,
Hmm.
"What?" Well, I didn't understand what she was saying, and she was saying, "If you don't, you're gonna you're gonna like." I'm still not even sure what that means. So she was just trying to say that there's a lot going on here. This isn't so people who have lived here forever have gotten lost on the same trails that they've taken.
Mm.
Lost time over and over and over. My son had a big bird encounter. He did not have a visual.
Hmm.
He was camping a couple years ago by himself, my younger son, and something walked up to his tent, and he said it sounded like a pterodactyl. And so that's my point.
Wow.
There's high strangeness here. You have moose turning into a man going into the woods. My
Right.
son was also chased by, we call it the hoodie. That's another crazy story. So
Oh.
yeah, like my son was hanging out with a friend and before he was driving, um, and it was cold out. It was spring break. That's how I remember. And these kids up here, they will put on their Carhartts, they will layer it up, their coats, they will put on their scarves, and they will get on their four-wheelers and they will go down these mountain roads. They will go through state land.
Hmm.
My son, who's 21 now, like I'm just shocked he's not out with me wanting to know more. And then he'll come and tell me something that happened to him. I'm like, why did you tell me what this? And he's like, So there's just so much that we don't know. I was also told by these other three people who were cleaning the water here in the area. They said Spirit Lake is a town, like that's a whole other subject I haven't even got on yet. I was called over there to Spirit Lake. And next year I'm going to be doing some work over there with these people up in the mountains there where they've had some high strangeness things happen. One lady, she goes jogging and then she's hearing things in the woods. And then, there's like these big handprints on her car, and then they'll hear things and then she's seeing things, and I'm like, it sounds like what
Wow.
happened to me is happening to you. So there's a lot of high strangeness here, and it's not just, you know like someone says, you always, like, you're giving off locations. No, I'm not, because here's the thing, there's one thing I know. you know they will leave. They know who you are. They will possibly destroy evidence. So I have taken good people to this area, the 300, and I have shown them different things, and now those people are having encounters in Montana
Oh,
Hmm.
okay.
on
Wow.
their property. Yep, just this week. So a lot of things going on we don't understand. I have to right now just kind of you break things down and like finish my book. There's people I'm interviewing for another possible book, or it might be her book. I don't even know. And because if I do like this one book, I think it's like I'm good. Like this was actually a lot of work. I don't know if I'm going to do it. So she's like, I'll do it. I said, okay, fine. Like, me and you can be on there. Like, I'll tell you the story and you can rewrite it. So I don't know what's going to happen with that, but I am taking reports. I am meeting people. I am connecting people. And things are happening. Like, we don't know what the heck. People are seeing thunderbirds. They're hearing werewolves. I don't know. I sound like a
Well,
crazy person, but
I think
that's,
we should have you back and we'll just talk about high strangeness around hoodoo. I think that would be a great show.
yeah, well, yeah, possibly maybe in next year.
Next year.
Yeah. So I'm embarking on being in Texas. At least that's a plan. So I don't know what's going to happen to me down there. I do plan on leaving. Okay, so a couple of nights ago, I left a mango by itself in this stump of a tree, and I left it in the stump because I was told. I told you all what happened in 2022 at Phenomenon, right, with Rebecca Foster.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I told you.
Yeah.
Okay, so Rebecca Foster is a world-renowned psychic. Her website is called godstool.com. I'm at Phenomenon, and she yells at me from across the room from her table. I'm not even there to see her. I don't even know who she is. She said, "Hey, I can see your Sasquatches." And so she told me all this information, and then I come home and everything happened. She told me that the Sasquatch told her that my dog, my best dog ever, was sick with cancer. I come home, go to the vet, it's true. I call her up, I'm like, oh my God. And she's like, have you put maple syrup out there? I'm like, no, I haven't done anything because I don't like to habituate. Well, guess what? I put some maple syrup out there. It wasn't, it was the keto. They didn't take it. I got the Kirkland pure organic maple syrup. I put it out there and they still didn't take it. So I didn't attempt anything else, but very recently, I don't know why, I put a mango out there and it was taken. Okay, it could have been a deer, big deal. So this time I get like this box and I put the mango in it. Guess what? The box was open, the mango was gone.
Oh.
Oh,
So
wow.
that required human hands to open up the box and to take it out. A deer is not going to do that. Otherwise, the box would have been torn open. So it wasn't. I also just returned from Mount Shasta. I went there for another Sasquatch family reunion last month, and I went with my friend and her daughter, and there we are in Mount Shasta at this event, and we have this cabin in the woods. This was a totally bizarre event, and it was very brief because the event was for 3 days, but we only stayed overnight. So we did Friday night and then Saturday. And then Saturday night, we were in the cabin, which was a mile from, or not even a mile, from the group campsite at Lake Shasta or Shasta Lake. And it was really crazy because before I left, I bought a papaya on the way to Mount Shasta. Don't ask me why I bought a papaya. I end up with a papaya there, and I'm telling people at this event, hey, I've got this papaya, like, I don't know, because papaya usually isn't like watermelon, really sweet. Like you put it in a smoothie. I'm like, I have got this papaya. Well, the cabin we were staying in, get this, was haunted or something. I don't know, because, well, I shouldn't say it's haunted because there was this other girl who was going to stay with us because we had an extra bedroom. She's super sensitive. She arrived at the cabin Saturday night. And so Friday night, we heard wood knocks, me and my friend and her daughter on the deck. And now this is the state of California owns this cabin. And we had no lights at night. We only had the propane for the cooking and the hot water. Now, we had no, they had solar power, but it wasn't working. So we had no lights, no electricity or nothing like that. So we heard whoops Friday night, and then Saturday night, this girl came over and she could not stay. She goes, I feel a presence here. And she was shaking. And I was like, what kind of presence? And now I'm thinking, what the heck? Like, what are you talking about? A spirit or Sasquatch? Because I felt like a presence in the woods. So she's like, she called her mom, and her mom came to pick her up, and she couldn't stay with us. And so I took her upstairs to feel the energy up there, and I opened up the window and I said, look up. I mean, the stars are out. It was a late Saturday night. She was looking into the woods, and she goes, we had a flashlight into the tree line there. She just, I don't know, she couldn't stay. And then early Sunday morning, I'm still asleep in bed. And my friend who was downstairs, there was 2 bedrooms upstairs. I was the only one upstairs. 5:20 a.m. they heard walking around in the other bedroom, and it wasn't me. So I'm up at 6:30. I go downstairs and they said, that wasn't you, because I'm flat-footed. I walk really hard. And I said, no, that wasn't me. And I even went upstairs and I tried to mimic softly, and they were all laughing. I'm like, great. So we have a ghost. So I don't know. And then I saw this papaya in my head and the solar house where they had the pump and some of the power. I was like, oh my gosh, they want me to leave this papaya. I don't know what to do with that. I was like, oh. So I took the papaya out by this house, and we all did like a little ceremony, and we said, thank you for having us here. We're leaving now. I'm gonna leave you. And I said, I sound like a Looney Tunes person. I left the papaya there, and I said, well, the deer will get it. So I don't know. I just went to this event. A lot of crazy things have happened this summer, and so I'm kind of branching out a little bit further. I have people contacting me to like, just, hey, like, what's your idea on this? What's your idea on that? So, which makes me feel good, because, for a little while there, I thought, maybe you're not, maybe you're wrong about this whole thing. But you know what? Doesn't matter. Something is happening here. There's a lot of high strangeness here, and there's just so much to learn. And the discernment comes in really, really, really strong, because there was a lot of things happening, like a lot of negative energies. Like, me and my husband were fighting a lot. This was like in 2006, 17, 18. Just don't, my kids being brats, like teenagers.
Right.
Like, what the hell, y'all got like some kind of attachment to you. So these people were sent to me, and they said, it's your area, and they looked on this map and they said, okay, well, here's part of the problem. They said the town of Sparrow Lake, there's a lot of drama there. And I was like, I guess you could say that. And they said, this whole area going up into the hoodoos, something's going on here. Like, there's like this vibrational energy that needs to be explored. And they said that the water needs to be cleaned, because Dogman, they said there was a Dogman in the area, which multiple people have told me they've witnessed, seen, or having some kind of experience. They said that the water needed to be cleaned from east, south, northwest. The lakes and the creeks that join together need to be cleaned. But they said there was a big portal over Spirit Lake, and there's another smaller one in, and it was going to take two of them to close it. They don't know how. They said it's ancient. They don't how long it's been open. And the whole time, this is in the beginning, when I'm kind of starting to accept this whole woo thing. Okay, I'm thinking, I'm like, oh, okay, but this is what they said. So, and I've told other people this story too. They did something with the portal. I think they closed it. Then they checked around for attachments to my family. I don't remember what they said. And then the third person cleaned the water, but his hand got burned. There was some entity. Yes. So he said, well, they were closing the portal and moving it wherever that means. I don't know. He was cleaning the water and remotely, and then he didn't get to finish. So, and he gave me the direction. He didn't get to finish, which I don't remember, because at the time I was thinking, this is beyond my expertise. But that's what they said. And so now it all makes sense. And they said a lot more, but I don't know how to get a hold of these people. I do through some friends, but again, it's like you have like 6 different scenarios, questions like, why is this? Why is this? Why is this? People calling me. I'm seeing moose turning into shape-shifting. My son is being chased by faceless, this shapeshifter person, whatever, chasing him down the road. My son was also camping by himself, and he heard a screech. And I said, what did it sound like? And he said, a pterodactyl. So, I don't know. It's really crazy. So that's kind of
Have you ever found any caves up there that could possibly be entrances down in the inner earth or anything?
So no, but and this is what some people are wanting to do and explore, but I don't really want to because it requires physical stamina. So there are parts of the hoodoos that people are have been to where it's like, well, I can't give you too much information. Let's just say it's really hard to get to because all the properties around it are private, and the only reason these people had access to it was because they own it or they have they're like park rangers. I'll just put it to you that way.
All right.
And they said it's hard to access. And this one guy who was hunting, who contacted me, who was here on Sunday, is one of those guys. And both of these guys have been all through the hoodoos and into this one area where they both were discussing, and this is how they travel. And there's elk in there because people here say, "Where's all the elk?" Well, that's where the elk are. And then the elk come out and they go to these large ranches. And so they want to explore going into this area, which there's no way I'm going to do it because it requires physical stamina. And I don't think my heart, one, can do it. Two, I would have to be like 20 years old to do that again. But they are going to look for a 4-wheeler way so I can go. It would there's just no way. We were looking on a map and I was like, so get this. The ranch where this happened with this guide, guess what? Guess who owns it now? The state of Idaho.
Oh. Took it over, huh?
And then there's another parcel that is owned by, I won't say the name, a production company in Hollywood.
Wow.
Why does a Hollywood, okay, maybe not Hollywood, why does a producing company that I just saw a major production movie and it's a production?
Wow.
Are you freaking? So we tread carefully, we tread lightly. Don't know what the future is for the 300 area because I've taken 3 people back there. It's all fine. I was told that I did nothing wrong. And I'm probably just going to give that a rest for a little bit. And then I think that when I come back from, I won't know till I come back next year. That's where we're at. A lot of answers to be, and I doubt I'm going to get all the answers, but I think it's our jobs here to be the teachers to like Legacy Discoveries. People really need to go watch their YouTube channel. I've seen a couple of things. Mitch, I forgot his last name. Angelique Benham, man, y'all can just learn so much from them. I encourage people to go to their channel and, just get a general idea. I don't know how much they talk about this area. I know they talk about areas in general. But those are good people to follow. Ron Moorhead. But as far as this area goes, I don't know. And maybe I'm saying a lot of things that aren't right, or maybe I've interpreted, but all I can do is go by my own experiences and go by the people I've worked with. These remote viewers, people that I've had nothing to do with are contacting me. People I don't know. I am still trying to figure it out myself. And a lot of it sounds crazy. So that's why I think I'm in a really good place right now where I'm supposed to be, and figuring things out on the level that I'm experiencing things. And maybe one day I'll have some better answers. I can only share with the general public and my followers, like, I don't know. This is a theory. Let's check it out. Oh, we didn't get to show those photos. Is it too late?
No, it's not too late.
No, okay. We can bring them up.
Sorry.
Brown Dwarf wanted to know if you know or familiar with Hoodoo Tall. I'm unfamiliar with that, so I don't know if it's a giant or what it is. Have you ever heard of it?
No, is that a term? Is that a place? I don't know. They have to tell him to contact me, or he'll have to type more in there. Is that a saying? I don't know.
Or is it a cryptid?
Is it a person?
Something real tall.
I was thinking a giant just because it said tall, but I don't know.
I don't know. They'll have to put more information in there.
Well, we have some time left, so we can bring up your pictures.
I think I sent you the structures I have found very recently, and maybe an old one. I don't know. I'm so bad about keeping photos, and I don't. They're all over the place.
Well, I'll just start bringing them up, and then you can tell us what they are.
Okay. Okay, so that I just found that a couple of weeks ago. That is up on the mountain in a very specific area. I call that the 3 area, and I call that for a reason. That's my clue of the area that I found it at. But this is way off the beaten path. I found this whole area here had amazing structures, not like the 300, not like that area, but this area, like that's what I call an asterisk. I've had that on my property as well. So I don't know what that means, but that's just one that I found just in the middle of nowhere up there on the mountain.
Right. It's like an X, but it has the added stuff to it, doesn't it?
Right. Yeah.
And an arch.
Yeah. Yeah. That's in there too. Yep.
And then this one.
Okay.
I see
so
the 90-degree bends or breaks.
Yeah. So I think this is one of the structures in the 300, and it's not really a good photo, but I mean, still, it'll give people an idea of a structure. And I think that's one of the structures in the 300 area.
Okay.
Okay. So this right here, I don't know if I sent you the right picture. This was sent to me last week. My Montana friends came with me. I actually did not discover the structure. So can y'all see how it's kind of flattened? Some of it's kind of flattened.
Yeah, it's like it's all bent in the same direction.
Right. But if you look like to the left at the lower structures there, that stood up to like 3 feet, where it probably once was like 10 or 15. So it's like a giant hand just came and said, screw this, and got the whole structure and just.
Yeah.
So what once was mighty was pushed down, and it's kind of hard to tell because I didn't stand by it. I just felt like we took some pictures and then it was time to leave. So we found a structure that was kind of squashed, and that's where that came from, I think. But anyway, you can go to the next one.
All right, let's see. We have this one.
Okay, so I think this could be a possible footprint. I found one more. Oh, no.
No, this is a pattern of branches.
Yes, this was blocking the way on one of the usual places that I go. So I asked them if I could enter, and I think I did because I had people with me. And I said, well, okay, well, we're going to enter because I'm not sure what this means. Because I felt still like it was okay. By the way I felt, that's how I decipher things. So that was blocking the path. And I've had some people tell me, well, you shouldn't have gone in there. So, I don't know. So anyway, that's.
Yeah, I mean, how do we know whether it's a warning or a marker or, what?
And right. And so I always go by intent. Well, my intent's not bad. So if I'm not doing, I can only guess, because I felt like an invitation, come in. So I don't know, I'm not, I don't have all the answers. Anyway, so that's was there on the ground, just like, so, okay.
Wow.
Anyway, so that's, I don't know if that's a print. I don't know. That was
just toes.
Yeah. So,
like
possibly, something could have been, this was an example I was using is this a tractor tire? Well, there was no other prints anywhere. So is this something scratching? So that was I just use that for a comparison of like, well, this really isn't a footprint, but is it? So anyway, that's why I took that photo.
Okay.
With my boot next to it. Is that it?
Yep. That's all you sent us.
Okay. All right. So, I've got, maybe we can just talk about next time I come on, because I have some other reports we haven't gone over that we can just talk an hour for just crazy crap that happens around here. Like, just there's no explanation for it. One night I was asleep back here. My RV, the back can come down. I was trying to get over my being afraid, sleeping out in a tent last summer. Not this summer, the summer of 2023. I was sleeping out in my woods in a tent, and I would force myself to stay out there because, man, dealing with this fear of infrasound and all this other crap, trying to, because I have been zapped, infrasound, we haven't even covered that, is a thing that we believe the Sasquatch can do. They can emanate this frequency and it can lock you up, basically. But the best explanation that was given to me is it's their frequency that they send to you. Not that you are doing something wrong. They just don't want you to come any further, or they can use it in other ways. And Henry Franzoni, man, he just goes off into all this about frequencies and infrasound, and like a scientist would, and like a person who doesn't understand or necessarily is on board with all this would be the perfect, to hear someone like him, because people want scientific facts, people don't want to say, oh, it was there and it disappeared, like, no, you got to explain that. So he did a really good thing with explaining it to me. We went into depth of different examples. So who knows, in 2022, there was a girl, she came onto my property, and she was part of the land clearing. She said, "What's that?" And it was 11:30 in the morning, and I had just came outside when she arrived, and it was on day 2 of us working to clearing the land and doing the sound bowls and all that. She said, what's that? And I was like, what? And we walked over to it, and it looked like a spiral drawn in my woods in the dirt. I was like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I didn't even notice that, but I hadn't been outside yet. I was waiting for her to come over, and she's like, "Was out here yesterday?" At this point, I don't know what's. I was like, I don't remember seeing that. So I went down the different things of what could this be. Was it the tractor? No, it wasn't the tractor, because the tractor would have left square blades. The tractor could not have done that perfect spiral like that, and it wasn't very deep. We ended up standing inside of it, and we were smudging ourselves as so I don't know too much about that, but I'm learning. And so just again, high strangeness, like, what the heck does this mean? So you try to debunk as much as you can, and try to go down well, what else could it be? What else could it be? What does this mean? And you just, who knows? I mean, just things like that. Oh, look, there's a person that turned into a moose. A moose turned into a person, and what? So something's going on here. So these people that closed the portal over Spirit Lake, they kept in touch with me for 6 weeks, maybe 3 months. They would check my family, and they would ask, so how's your kid acting? Well, he's a teenager. And they would check for attachments. Okay, well, no, there's nothing. They checked the area, they remote viewed the whole area, and they said that things are just here, coming in and out of the portal. And I said, I thought you closed it. And then I don't remember what else they said, but they said, we'll they explained about water spirits and why the water needs to be cleaned. They said a dog man is a water spirit. Hey, I didn't know that. And they said that it's important that, and they explained to me why it was important, why they had to do all these things. So again, that was a couple of years ago, and my son's now, he's 21. He owns his own company. My older son had a couple of encounters here, but he pretty much moved out of the house 2012, 2013, and now he lives in Spokane. So my younger son mainly has got that Indian in him. My great grandmother, my people come from Mexico. I'm not sure, I say Mayan, but my family said that they're not sure what tribe my great grandmother came from. But let me tell you what, that woman, I've had other people tell me, your great grandmother is here. She's got long black hair. She's got that copper skin, and she looks like those people from like Peru. I remember when I was 7 years old. Yeah, we would go to Mexico. I was raised in Texas, y'all. So we'd go to, Mexico, Nuevo Laredo, and she would buy things like spices and oils, and we would come back and she would make things because she would do these spells on me. I call them spells. My mother would get so mad. She she would call her a brujeria, which is a witch. So, but she was a healer, is what she was. And I remember she made this ointment because it stunk. It stunk to high heaven. She put it all over, and I remember my mother getting mad at my my dad because it was my dad's grandmother. So she's my great grandmother. So she is a healer, and man, so we are trying to get more information on that. My family is doing more genealogy because my grandfather was adopted and she remarried. And so she is Indian, but we don't know from what tribe in Mexico. But they say that it doesn't matter who you are. Your DNA from your ancestors travel through you, and they will awaken if you have a job to do, basically. So I don't know. But my younger son is super intuitive, but he needs to, it's up to him. It's up to each of us to accept your gifts. It's up to you to take what you know and do something with it or not. Or you choose what level because I'm working with a lot of different healers now. That's why I go to these events. So like, I was also told not to do any more, or not to do any events where it's just like all these TV people talking, like it's just like, a dog and pony show or whatever, which I have no problem with entertainment. I have a ton of friends that do TV shows but it's the truth. What is the truth? Who are the teachers out there that they want to have a connection with? So that's kind of where we're at. I kind of want to work more with healers, and so that's kind of like where I'm at, and that's why I go to these family Sasquatch reunion things, because we have like UFO ships come in the night and people talk about encounters, and spending more time in the woods alone, drumming, doing breath work. I'm on a totally different spiritual level than I was a couple of years ago, and it's not a hobby, it's a way of life, and it's just insane. There's so much to learn. And then of course it's the people like us that are given a hard time, oh, they're crazy, don't listen to them.
Let them think we're crazy.
No. And I mean, maybe I'll come to y'all's house if we go to Illinois, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I can drive. I think it's 13 hours, and I can come out and hang out and then go see family.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, have you noticed the activity has increased the last couple of years also in your area?
Well,
About the same.
It's about the same now because I've been called out. Like I've been called out, so I'm not paying too much other than the things I've noticed here, which are just like another day, like, oh, there's a howl. Oh, okay. So I would
sightings
say,
and activities have increased the last couple of years.
yeah, but here's what I don't like, and I wasn't gonna bring this up. So, do I want to stay here? Do I want my son to marry and to live here? Do I want my grandchildren growing up here? I don't know. I even told my friend who's a realtor, like, dude, I don't know if I want to go into that basin y'all are talking about. I don't know if I want to go over there to Canada, there's this other area that they say is connected here with some kind of, I'm not sure. I don't know how deep I want to go down this, this road. Because I will tell you that when I left here, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, my son, my younger son, who is super intuitive, like more than me, entities are trying to reach out to him and they're not good. So I don't know what that means. For example, I've left the property. I'm gone. Me and my husband are in Illinois. I think this was 2021, the first time we snowbirded, over 2022. The first time that they're taking care of the property. And my son has a dream of a woman. I don't like this, and I don't like talking about it, but I'm going to tell y'all what someone is working with me on right now. They just haven't got back to me. Just very recently, this summer, again, my son doesn't tell me everything. I found out that my son was dreaming about this woman sitting in a tree in this white dress, like a white nightgown. And it was very ugly face, evil, and she was calling him outside. And he woke up. He didn't tell anybody about the dream. A couple of days later, his girlfriend was given a dress, and she came home and she put it on for him. And it was a white dress, and it looked a lot like the dress of this woman that he saw in a dream. And my son told her, "Where'd you get that dress? Why are you wearing that?" And she's trying to show him, like, "Oh, look, my grandmother or whoever gave me this dress." And he's like, "No." And then she is hearing chattering out in the woods. They're in the house. I'm not even here. She is hearing noises. Her great grandfather had just died, and something hit the house. My son would not wake up. She was shaking him. He would not wake up, and she was scared because she heard her grandfather's voice that said, "Come outside." She knew not to go outside, and she was trying to wake up my son, and he would not wake up. It was like he would not wake up. The whatever would not let him wake up. And so we believe, my son said something was trying to lure him outside, and when they couldn't get to him, they're trying to get to her. So
they do that. Oh, wow.
So now we're dealing with stuff I don't want to talk about. I don't know. So that's where we're at, because it's a constant. I've had this place cleaned like 6 times, and right now I'm supposed to have it cleaned again, and I don't want, it's like, keep this place sanctified, and so I don't just talk about Sasquatch. Okay, we've got, our lineage has got something. I don't know, but I don't like the fact that they're coming after him, trying to get him, and then they can't get him, so they try to go to get my daughter-in-law's attention. Or future daughter-in-law. I don't like that. So, and then I asked my son, "Well, do you dream about her?" He's like, "Oh yeah, a lot." He told me that just a couple of days ago.
Oh,
wow.
So I have contacted someone from the Colville tribe or the Spokane tribe, because we used to go. My best friend is married into the Spokane tribe, so we're discussing that right now, what we can do to keep this place. I'm moving. So I don't know at what point I'm going to, it's like, I feel like I'm on this journey, but then I have this happening. So I'm like, okay, when does this stop? When are you just going to stop? Because you have other people here that just talk about their experiences, but I talk about all of it, everything that's happening. And then, so people try to say, "Well, there's something wrong with you. There's something wrong with you. You're attracting this." No, I'm not. I am not attracting this. I am being we are being reached out from this side, from this side, from this side. I'm getting answers, but it's hard to argue with someone when you tell them a story like that, and then when they're coming at you saying, no, it's you. You're the attraction. You've got some attachment on you. No, I don't. Trust me, I've never been as healthy and happy as I am today. But they keep bringing that aspect in, and it's really frustrating because they don't get it. If you have not experienced this, everything, the other stuff, all the good, there's so much good in this too. Like, for example, I have stepped outside by myself because they're going off outside. Like, one thing I've learned is they like to get attention. So the old me would not pay attention to them. That way it would stop, but it didn't stop. So once I acknowledge them as a people, like when you talk, you want to be acknowledged, right? Okay. So when I hear them, I go outside. Okay, like, what's wrong? Okay, my dogs took off. Like one time they were going off at night, and the next day I discovered my dogs were missing. Well, one of my dog's collars, of the shock collar, was taken off of him, and it was laying outside the door. Like, really? And then my friend, who's a remote viewer, said, yeah, your collar is zapping your dog. And I said, what's it supposed to? She's like, no, it's broken. It's broken. I was like, oh, and because we couldn't figure out. Like, I would hear the noise go beep, 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 and I would be like, what is that? And then I look at the collar, and it seemed to be working, but my dog would go, and then I would tell my husband, I need a new collar, but we're cheap, right? Because a new collar is $180. He's like, no, just needs new batteries. I'm like, no, I don't think so. So one day they took off, and she said they took off the collar from his neck. Wow. Sounds crazy, right? I'm just saying. So things like that have happened, and then. So I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, obviously, I'm not moving anywhere right now. But I don't know what the future holds. I really don't. Like, I'm looking at some other properties, but it's not going to happen right now. But there's a reason. And my friend looked me straight in the eye. She's also a healer. She just came back from I call it a walkabout, but there's a name for it. When you go on this retreat and you, like, I don't know, you get in touch with yourself, or she's like a healer. She said, your soul does not want to be here anymore. I was like, what? She said, your soul does not want to be here anymore. I'm like, I'm just beginning to learn about things. So I don't know. I don't have all the answers. But anyway.
Well, I think this will be a good time to stop, and we'll have to bring you back, like we said, whenever we can get it worked out, to talk about the strange stuff and get a little more in depth into that, all the weird stuff happening. Yeah,
and then we'll see what happens in Texas. I'm going to try to see what I can to do about cleaning up this preserve, I guess. And then, because I did look it up a couple of times, and so I think that's what I'm supposed to look into. And then I'm going to try to start interacting. I am going to start audio recording down in East Texas too. I will be going to the Big Thicket as well. I'm going to be sleeping in my car and leaving audio recorders out the Sam Houston National Forest in the Big Thicket. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Amazing.
Awesome. All right. Well, we'll just say goodbye to everybody in chat, and make sure you guys all go check out Cindy's Facebook and reach out to her through her email if you have any questions. And, after the show, leave us a thumbs up and a comment if you have any questions, and we'll try to answer them that way also.
Yes, and I am notorious for talking so much and getting off the subject and going, ADD. So thank y'all for staying on track and keeping me on track. And some people who have been following me for, like, I don't know, 10 years or 8 years, however long I've been doing podcasts. There's this one guy, he follows me and he says, God, you're so annoying. You're all over the place, like you're here, you're there. And he says, but you're getting so much better. Okay, I will take it.
I think you did very well. I think you were right on point, and we talked about a lot of stuff and a lot of subjects, but you made it just follow right along. It was good.
Well, awesome. I try. Okay. Well, thanks for
All
having
right.
me.
All right. Well, don't go away. We'll just say goodbye to everybody in chat and close this out. Thank you all for coming. Everybody that's been here tonight. I tried to bring up your questions and bring it up, but we wanted to touch on as many subjects as we can. As you know, we did. We covered a lot of ground tonight. So thank you all for coming.
Thank
Like I
you,
said,
Robin.
leave us a comment after the show if you can, or a thumbs up, and get a hold of Cindy by her email if you have questions specifically for her, or we can relay them to her if you mention them in comments, or even if you get a hold of our email at midwestnightwatchers@gmail.com, and we'll forward them to Cindy.
Yes, and anyone can send me a message. I check my emails every single day. I have no problem calling up someone. I've been having people reach out to me, and I am working with, a couple of people who are going through what I'm going through, believe it or not. There's a lady in East Texas. There's a lady in Washington that I'm talking to, and it's a repeat of my life. It's insane. So they
Mhm.
are reaching out to people, I do believe.
Yeah.
Yep, I think everybody's waking up and they're all having experiences and say, hey, I'm just not imagining this, or they're actually
Mhm.
starting to dig into it. Like, okay, well, I hear a lot of people talking about this. Now I'm seeing it.
Right.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me, y'all.
Oh, you're welcome. All right, chat. We love you. Thank you for coming. Keep looking up. And
Keep your
Jane,
vibrations high.
that's right. Keep your vibrations high, and we'll see you next time. Love you.
Love you all.